Hello from Bali. This is a podcast pigeon on of peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about workaholism and let's start with the definition.
Maybe I will break our rule to start from the definition and I will make a small remark. Sometime when we issue our rolics or videos on YouTube, people write, okay, come on guys, you are a rich boy and you have everything and you have nothing to worry about. Yesterday it was assault to my family and we have fight indoors in my flat, and maybe it's visible. I have some, I don't know how to say, bruises, and it was not easy
Bruises.
to shave. And I was doubting, is it worth to record this video? But anyway, we were continuing our work even while raiders attack was holding on our clinic. So we'll write even today. And there's also some small issue about workaholism. If, to be honest, workaholism is quite similar to another word, alcoholism. So we think that this is a negative connotation of this word. And if people are able to work hard and to achieve result, we like this person and we want to be partner, we want to be employee of such a boss. But from other side, maybe from the family point of view, maybe from relatives, maybe from friends, a workaholic is not quite a good person. And there are several reasons. First, you never know if he or she will come to your, for example, birthday or some anniversaries. So you expect you would put some plates on the table. Maybe you will save some vodka or wine or beer, and you will worry for very last moment. And if he or she will not come, you have a bad mood about this. Second, often those people are not allow employees to go out. You know, in some companies, it's quite usual that when the boss comes to the work table, everyone is already sitting on their desks and they want to show, okay, I'm here. And the same, no one wants to leave the office before the boss. So workaholism, it's quite a disease.
Well, actually, it reminds me one of my cases when I was working in Singapore. It's I do believe it's also like a common thing in the Asian culture, like you not have to leave the office before your boss because it would be definitely really portrayed you as a bad person. Moreover, in most of the like offices that I've seen, your boss would actually visually see like how you trespassing and like going back to this door. So it's also like would have some certain effect. But if we speak about it like from a different person, from a different point of view, there should be a motivation, whether it's like you have a void that you need to fill, or maybe you have like so many plans so that they go beyond your life or maybe beyond the life of the people who surrounded you, so at least you're trying to at least put everything in the motion. So what the workaholism reasoning is standing behind of like long hours that you're putting into the work?
There would be two stories like an answer for your question. First, I was working in Germany, in Frankfurt on Main, and when I was trying to stay at my desk later than working day ends or on Friday, I would be always asked to leave the office, and I was trying to say that I like to stay here because I have notebook, I have copy machines and so on. It was not allowed to take to my rent house notebook or copy machine or something like this. So I have just a block notes. From other point of view, when I was working in Japan, it was quite usual to come daily to the job. And even when I was working after this time in Ukraine, for me, it was quite unusual. I was when I was wake up at the weekends, I was thinking maybe I should go at work. Maybe someone waits me. By the way, in the Japanese language, there is a word which has a name haroshi, and haroshi means that you're working until would be dead. And another example, I was working in Alpha Bank Ukraine, and there were some employee. Her name was Allah, and he was ex PwC worker, and she would work all the time. She would come at 6 o'clock. She would go at 12. She would go for weekends. But you know what's funny? If you would see her, you would not see the woman. You would see the ghosts, because pale lips, no concentration in the eyes. She know everything, but she's behaving like a zombie. And it was several times when she have a probability to become a boss of her department, but it never happens because she was too useful.
And when we actually speak about, like this burning out and stuff, maybe I'll try to ask it from a different point of view, because obviously, like we know that at certain point of time, our body, our vehicles, they might be like wearing out. Well, actually, all of us, we're moving towards our end. So how to, like if we're trying to be like a smart alcoholic or like a aware workaholic, so how do we go about budgeting, prioritization? Like how do we treat ourselves maybe like a conveyor who just would produce a work? Which should be the mindset or the controller that we should embed in order to make sure, okay, it's a workaholism, but it's a healthy one, it's a constructive one.
I will say several rules. First, never start your day with tea or coffee with sugar. If you will take it, you will have a good mood, but then you will used to it, and then you could not start without coffee or tea. But sometime you will go by plane or maybe by train or maybe by car, and you will have a meeting early at the morning, and all what you will think is would be tea, for example, in business lounge or something. And if people will notice this, they will see, oh, this is not a clever, not a workaholic person. Second, if you start to do something, try not to switch to something else. For example, do not stand up from your desk until you finish your page while typing in Word. Or maybe you will make some calculation in sheets of Excel and never go to think about it during your break. First, you should finish, and then you will go with empty head. Do not use your breaks to think something about your current work or current job. And third, you should always budget your time for your relatives, for your family, for your kids. There is no excuses. By the way, there is a saying which I like a lot. You could make business or excuses, but you couldn't make them both.
Well, actually, I think this is a good one. It's like, all of the struggles, you can't really press everything because apparently it's not going to work. And you also mentioned the important part, the family, because sometimes, you might be having like a circumstances or like anything else that comes up, and you definitely need to work on that because A, like you might be a responsible person, B, it's actually more important. So how to deal with this? Because, you also need to have a good explanation or maybe good justification, or maybe you need to think about like paying in advance for all of your excuses that you're going to make.
There is a saying which would be pronounced by people who run marathon. It would be like, your difficulties is temporary, but glory is forever. So when you start to do something, you shouldn't approach any kind of job or any kind of task without plan. First plan, then execution. Second, you should always have on the mind strategy. You could maybe confirm that I very often ask you, are you ready to publish the next article? Because if you will have no 3 books or 5 books in 10 years, you will become nobody. Everyone thinking that life is quite long, but in a very short period of time, you will have white hair as me, and you will see, okay, but everything is already behind, but not in front of me. And maybe a last one, when you start to put your efforts to something, you should understand what would be the reward. If it not expiring you, maybe you shouldn't do this. When I become older and older, I refuse much more often because I think, okay, maybe it's for money, this may be for fun, but quite better is to have money and fun, but not just one of this.
Well, I think this is another like a toggle that we need to remember about. And when we do work, when we produce something, it's also might be like a different modes. For example, we might be planning and just using our head and maybe like pen and paper, just like to visualize or materialize the things. Or maybe I do this quite often when we do certain work. I try to pretend myself as a conveyor so that like I do have blocks of work and they're just like going through, and I don't do anything but this. Or maybe even like making sure that the work is also similar so that it's like more really monotonic and like quite boring but yet effective. So what other modes or maybe other dimensions or maybe other things we need to have in mind so that we could produce the results and make sure that like it's really going out of us?
Very useful skill is to measure your task in difficulties or in so-called parrots. There is a Russian cartoon when some parrots trying to measure a long snake, python, and it's trying to roll out, and apparently it comes that length of the snake is 38 parrots. In Russian language, 38 parrots, it's quite a well-known phrase. So if you do something, you should understand how many parrots it would be. It could be hippos or parrots or maybe something like this, maybe, I don't know, pandas, but you should understand, okay, this job was like 10 pandas, and those jobs would be like 5, 15 and 20. This first. Second, you should never force yourself to do something. Yes, you are conveyor, but you are not obliged to do everything at once. So maybe today you will eat apples, for tomorrow you will eat cucumbers, and then you will eat onions. Yes, I do not want to eat onion, but it's time for it. I don't know, maybe I will make some mistake. I'm very afraid to pronounce this word. If I would make something bad, maybe you will correct me. There is very useful things in task, like in veggies and fruits. It should ripe. It's okay, созреть.
Yep.
Because there's another meaning, and I was afraid to pronounce this something like sexual assault.
That's a difference, so we're good.
Okay, thank you. So if this apple are green for you, and if all other people are forced you to eat, never agree. You should understand that maybe in 1 or 2 days you will have another mood, and you will approach this task with pleasure, with eager.
And then my last question will be how knowing about workaholism would help to make this world a better place.
Maxim, sometimes I sit at night like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and I make view that I am working, but then I would understand that for last 10 or 15 minutes, I just switch between windows and could not decide what to do next because I want to make something very hard. And then I just switch my notebook and go to bed and start to read something. And if you will sit very long time without any result, it's a bad habit of workaholism. You should fight against it.
And we review the skill of workaholism and how it could be helpful for you. Stay in peace.